Hello, welcome to Board Game Bonkers. My name's Jay Sears, and today we're going to take a look at my top 10 picks from Board Game Geek's Top 100 as we get to battle. And this is the final video of this series where we're looking at the top 10 in each of Board Game Geek's lists of top board games. Now, before we get into this, please do consider subscribing to the channel and please give this video a like if you enjoy the content of it. And let me know in the comments down below because I'm interested to know whether you like these games as much as I do. And please don't get hung up by the scores I've given them. Just because I've given someone a 6, that doesn't mean I don't like the game. I really do enjoy it, and I've got them in my collection. Now, I have changed this list slightly different because I did a previous video on looking at my top 10 for Board Game Geek's Top 100, and I've got some slight differences on this list, so it's not the same. So let's get to it, shall we? Checking out my number 10, and this is Architects of the West Kingdom. Now, Architects of the West Kingdom is a worker placement game. You're placing out your workers. And what I like about this unique worker placement element is that if you have two, you can place as many workers as you like in specific spaces. And the more you've got, the more resources you get. However, the opponents can take those and essentially send them to prison. And then you've got to try and get them out of the castle at the prison. And there are also different there's a black market worker placement spot where you can get some additional benefits, but there is a risk. And you've got this track as well, but you can actually get minus points for carrying out certain deeds. And what you're trying to do is build your architects and build this structures. You'll have these cards, architects, and you're trying to build buildings and contribute to the cathedral. I think it's a cathedral by placing your workers there. So you've got different worker placement spots and different ways in how you manage that. Now, the game's got a good bit of crunchiness to it, and I feel that the weight is really good for what I enjoy in board games. And the theme is so-so. There is a theme there. It isn't ultra strong. And it can feel a little bit tiresome, frustrating when you've got your people sent to, or workers sent to prison, which means that you've got to do a lot of work to get them back. There's an element of luck in this game, but mostly strategic elements to it, which I enjoy. And I think they've done a good job. Now, I've given this a 6.5, which I think is a fair score, but there are others I prefer now more than that particular game in the series. So let's move into our number 9 then. This is Nemesis. Nemesis essentially is Aliens, a board game. You just can't call it Aliens because it'd be infringing on copyright. And this is a semi-co-op, but also you can play cooperatively. And I think the semi-co-op works really well in this game. I like the exploration. You're exploring this spaceship, revealing the tiles. Each room has a different ability in what it does. You'll have these objective cards, a hidden objective, and how you will escape. So you're trying to figure that out. And you're going to look at how this ship has been navigated, where it is. Perhaps you're trying to sabotage the ship and escape out the pod before others. It really depends on your objective. But like I said, you've got the cooperative mode as well. And I like that each room does something different and it changes on where those rooms are placed. The aliens will be pulled out of this bag. And that can feel a little bit mean because if you get the big alien coming out really early, that can really cripple you and end the game quite early. And I would have liked and hoped that they had a different mechanism there. Perhaps that alien comes into the bag later on or halfway through the game, but I really like how there's a lot of thinking in this, a lot of strategical elements to it, what rooms they go to, how they get that, how to upskill myself. You have your different characters who have different skill sets. I really like that, although some are far better at combat than others, and that can hinder you or benefit you. It depends on your strategy and the end game point. And I think this is quite a fun and enjoyable game. Don't love it. And I probably prefer the cooperative moment, although the semi-co-op does fit in well with the Aliens movie. So I've given this a 6.5, and I think that's a fair reflection on this game. Let's move into my number 8 then, and this is the Great Western Trail. Very popular rondel, a large rondel system it uses, and you'll be placing your cowboy out into the different action tiles that are laid out, and you can acquire more tiles and place them out and building tiles that you own, and you will be benefiting yourself as well as being able to use opponents' tiles. And what you'll be doing is going through this massive rondel. You've got your cow cards, you'll be trying to cash in those cow cards, and you'll be going up this rail track, and you'll be going to the different cities in America, and what you're trying to do is then play to get points is place your cylinder from your player board onto those towns or cities. That then unlocks different abilities on your player board. And like I said, there are strategies are you can acquire buildings, upgrade buildings that give you points, get as far up in that track as possible. It gives you points, and there's different other ways to get points as well. And you'll be able to try and get the different people into and onto your board. So cowboys, mechanics, etc., builders, and trying to get them onto your board. It unlocks different abilities and gives you points at the end of the game. Quite a simple, straightforward system in terms of the worker placement. The thinking does come on where do I place my building to maximize my strategy and get the most points and most benefit out of that building. You've got hazards that prevent you from reaching certain building points as well. How quickly do I go up that rondelle system to cash in on my cows? So I really like that. And I think they've done a good job with it. And I've given this a strong 6.5 out of 10. So if you like your worker placement with a rondelle system and racetrack, that's definitely one to check out. My next game is one that's considered almost a classic now, is Terraforming Mars, highly popular, and it uses the stock art, which it's okay, but I don't think it's brilliant, and a lot of people frown upon that. This is almost a card-driven game, and you'll be terraforming Mars. You've got cards in your hand, and you'll be comboing those cards, and you'll be placing the cards in front of you, and you'll be purchasing new cards as well through each round, and you'll be trying to colonize the planet Mars to maximize points. And it's got this bit of an ecosystem going. So while I like this game and I think it's done a good job where you can always find different strategies and what cards you get, and there's a bit of luck in what cards you draw, but there's different strategies. There's so many different cards. You can combo different ones to aim towards maybe one or two different strategies on the colonizing of the planet and how you do that. The player boards are a bit flimsy and quite naff, quite frankly. They could have made them much nicer looking, and the general design of this is okay. The graphic and artwork in the game, like I say, uses stock art, which a lot of people don't like. It's inconsistent, which is a bit frustrating. But the game is really interesting, and I did enjoy the couple of plays when I played this. I don't own it, my friend does, and we played it quite a few times, and I do enjoy it. I don't love it, but I just do like some of the mechanisms and how they mesh. The theme is so-so, it is there, and the theme does come through in the cards and the ecosystem you've got. So I think they've done a good job with that. I just wish the graphic design and artwork was a lot better. So I've given this a 6.5 out of 10, and I think if the artwork was better, I might actually give it a higher score. So next on my list is Agricola. Agricola is a farm game where you'll be farming, building your farm, building fences, getting your different animals in there, and you've got a house that accompanies different number of workers, and you'll be able to upgrade that to get more workers, and there'll be cards laid out that give you different worker placement spots to go through, and during the rounds they'll be revealed and they're randomly drawn out, so you don't know what order and what card is what. So when they're revealed throughout the rounds, you'll be able to go to more worker placement spots, and you've also got your different ovens you can acquire, which you need to transfer wheat into bread. Of course, there's a bit of hate drafting there because you can acquire ovens others need, and there's limited ovens, so you can take that from other players, which means that they can be left out, which can be frustrating. You've also got a feed your people mechanism that a lot of people don't like, and I think it's too punishing in this game. So if you don't punish, you get, I think it's a -6 points, which is really harsh. So you've got to balance that and getting food to feed your people, but also you need enough people to place it in the worker placement spots to carry those actions out and gather the resources. So I really like that. And the building your farm, I think they've done a good job. There's a bit of crunchiness. You have occupation cards at the start of the game, and you'll be drafting those, and they will give you different abilities, and how you use them is really important throughout the game. It can feel a little bit lengthy, and I think this can, with higher player counts, can well go into 3 hours, which feels a little bit too long for my liking. I've got the family edition as well, which often I play that more than this because it's a little quicker to play. But this is a good, solid game. I highly recommend it. It's a classic. I've given this a 7 out of 10. So let's move in to my next one on the list. And this is Grand Austria Hotel, which works really well with 2 players. In fact, I'd recommend it with only 2 players. I think it's great with 2 players. And you'll be building, you've got a hotel and you're getting guests to put them into the hotel. It's a bit weird where you've got to feed them as well into your restaurant and then place them and get the rooms prepared and place them in the rooms. And you have different cards you can acquire that give you different abilities. Now, what's a bit weird is, like I said, you've got to feed them before you place them in your hotel, which feels a little bit weird because you need to prepare the room. Seems a bit odd, that. But anyway, you've got to gather resources, find the strategy to get as many guests. You've got to place them in certain rooms depending on the colour of the guests. So it's got to match. And you're going to find groups which will give you points at the end of the game. And I really like best thing about this game's dice action mechanisms. You'll be rolling dice and you'll be placing those dice in these spots on this board, and they'll be numbered from 1 to 6, for example. And you'll be able to take a dice that gives you that particular action. The more dice that are there, the more powerful that action is. And I really like that. I think that's a great part of this game. But that's a bit that makes it shine. So it's a good solid game. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. So let's move in to our next one, and this is now considered a classic, which is a 2-player game, 7 Wonders Duel, which has been, I suppose, overtaken by another Duel Wonders, which is based on Lord of the Rings, I believe. I think it is. I haven't played it, so I don't know, and I've got it on my shelf. I just need to get it out and play it. But 7 Wonders Duel is a great 2-player game. Arguably the best it's out there. I think it's fantastic. So you've got a pyramid system of these cards. One row is face up, the other row is face down, and players will be taking cards. And what they'll be trying to do is either take the resource, benefit from that card, and there's 3 ways you can win. You can build your wonders. You need those wonders, which give you benefits. And then you'll be trying to win either by maximum points or by the military. There's a military track, and you'll be taking cards that give you military that goes up that track, which will then give you a bonus as well to take a token, and those tokens do different things. And you've also got science symbols you can win by having the science symbols. So there's 3 different ways you can win, and I like the system, that pyramid system, and each of the 3 areas are different and how that pyramid system is laid out. But this is a brilliant 2-player game. Highly recommend it. Fantastic. Check it out. So let's go in to our next one. Love this game. Worker placement. This is Raiders of the North Sea. And this game, you'll be acquiring cards to build up your Vikings and to go on these quests, which is to raid these different towns and villages on the board to then gather the resources and gain points. There's a bit of element and luck in some of those because you'll be rolling dice, but you can see how much strength you have, what number you need to get, etc. So you can reduce that luck to a certain degree by bulking up your Vikings and to go out into battle. And it's really simple and straightforward in how that mechanism works. What I like is a worker placement in there. Be placing workers out, and you've got different coloured workers that can only go in certain spots. So when you raid, you'll get a worker of a different colour and you'll be able to place that on to the worker placement spot. That worker is already on there, gets taken off. So then you've got that worker to use in the next round. I really like that mechanism. Place a worker, take a worker. So I really like how that works. And you've got a few different worker placement spots, but it's not overwhelming. There's quite a nice selection there. And I like that you've got your dual use of cards. Do I use it card for combat, or do I use it and go to the town hall to use its ability instead? You've got that bit of tug and pull on the choice that you've got. I really like this game. I think it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. I've given this a 7.5 out of 10. So let's now move in to my final game, our number 1. Love this game. It's a classic. This is Lords of Waterdeep. It's a classic, simple, straightforward worker placement game. Place your worker, gather a resource. You have buildings, and that's what's great about it. You have different buildings that gives you, that you own, that gives you different abilities and different resources. But your opponent can also use it, but you'll gain a benefit from then using that building. You have these cards that you'll be drawing as well. These cards will give you different abilities Now, the expansion adds a bit more. The Skullport expansion, I recommend that. It's more additional worker placement spots and additional intrigue cards. Although the worker placement spots are more or less the same, they just act in a slightly different way. And what's unique about that expansion is that you have these skills that you'll be placing on and acquiring. What means is this track will keep increasing, and the more skills that you've got, the more minus points that you'll get. So you can use that as part of your strategy to get better worker placement spots, but there's a risk to it as well. And there's also a way to get rid of those skills as well. And I really like this game, the simplicity in a worker placement. There'll be quest cards you'll be gathering. You're trying to get the resources, which essentially are wizards and all different types of fantasy people to come on your quest, and then obviously complete that quest, and then gives you the points. Really simple and straightforward. But I like that the buildings give a bit of a twist to it. The intrigue cards give a bit of a twist as well, because you don't know what the intrigue card is, and it might benefit you or better, or it might not benefit you so much there and then, and you can use it at any time on your turn, as long as you go to the working places spot to use that intrigue card. So I like the simplicity and straightforwardness of this, and it's the expansion. I'd always play with the expansion because I think it just gives you a bit of an addition and doesn't change the game too much. I recommend it. An amazing game. I've given this a 9 out of 10. So much I love it. So that brings us to the end. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do hit that subscribe button. Yes, the 90% that watch the videos and aren't subscribed, and please do give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Let know in the comments down below, what's in your top 10? What games do you prefer in the top 10 list? And do you agree with this list? I know a lot of people might be thinking Laws of Waterdeep's a bit high. It's kind of outdated now, but sometimes I like the basic simplicity of board games over the convoluted bulkiness of certain modern games. So really, we've got a different preference to what we like. Hope you've enjoyed this list. My name is Jay Sears, and until next time, take care.
This is Bonkers.